Rewind to the 90s, the SNES and the golden age of gaming. Hey everyone! Welcome back! Today, we're diving into the pixelated past to celebrate one of the titans of the console wars, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or as most of us lovingly call it, the SNES. Strap in, it's going to be a nostalgic ride. Released in 1990 in Japan and 1991 in North America, the SNES was Nintendo's answer to the question nobody thought to ask: how do you make the NES better? With a whopping 16-bit processor, that's right, 16 bits of glory, this machine wasn't just a step up, it was a moon leap for gaming. Development. Rewind to the tail end of the 1980s, a pivotal era when neon colors ruled and synth music filled the air. Amidst this cultural renaissance, the video game industry was burgeoning, and Nintendo was leading the charge with the NES. However, technology was advancing rapidly, and competition was on the rise, especially with Sega's 16-bit Genesis gaining attention. Nintendo needed something revolutionary to stay at the forefront. The mastermind behind this ambitious project was none other than Masayuki Uemura, the wizard who previously enchanted the world with the NES. Uemura and his team embarked on a top-secret mission dubbed Project Super Guy, a nod to the superheroic efforts needed to leap beyond their own towering standards. The stakes were high, and the secrecy surrounding the project was akin to a plot from a spy novel. Employees were sworn to silence, with parts of the development taking place in hidden rooms accessible only to those with a special keycard, the golden cartridge, if you will. At the heart of their quest was a radical new idea, a 16-bit architecture that could do more than just improve graphics, it could transform storytelling in games. This would be achieved through the SNES's cutting-edge technology, including the powerful Ricoh 5A22 CPU, which could handle complex calculations faster than a warp star from Kirby's Adventures. The development team also innovated with Mode 7 graphics, a technique that allowed for breathtaking scaling and rotation of backgrounds, turning flat races in games like F-Zero into heart-pounding, pseudo-3D experiences. The inclusion of the Sony-developed S-SMP audio chip in the SNES was a game-changer, providing an audio experience that was unparalleled at the time, with capabilities to support complex musical compositions that were integral to the gaming experience. But the development wasn't just about hardware. Nintendo also focused on software, knowing that the success of a console lies in its games. They worked closely with developers to create tools that made full use of the SNES's capabilities. This approach not only ensured a lineup of impressive titles upon release, but also set the stage for what would be some of the most memorable games in history. As the console neared completion, anticipation was sky-high. Nintendo's strategy involved teasing the capabilities of the SNES in various tech shows and gaming magazines, gradually building a buzz around what would be possible with the new console. Reception. When it finally launched, it was clear Nintendo not only met the expectations set by the NES, but surpassed them, setting a new standard for what a home console could achieve. The result was a platform that not only defined an era of gaming, but also cemented Nintendo's legacy as an innovator in the gaming industry. At launch, the SNES faced fierce competition, particularly from Sega's Genesis console, which had a head start. The Sega's Genesis had the advantage of an earlier release and a marketing campaign that aggressively targeted an older demographic. Sega's Genesis does what Nintendent's slogan was a direct jab at Nintendo's more family-friendly image. But Nintendo's new console brought more than just upgraded hardware, it brought an experience. Sales initially had a slow start, but it wasn't long before it began to capture hearts with its superior graphics, sound, and gameplay. Critics raved about its capabilities, and the console wars of the 90s officially kicked into high gear. Gamers were treated to visual feasts with vibrant colors and sprites that seemed to jump off the screen. Soundtracks? Phenomenal. They had depth, complexity, and the ability to stick in your head for days. Remember the Super Mario World theme? Hum's tune, yep, it's in your head now. The initial reception was a mix of awe and excitement as players witnessed the console's superior graphics and audio capabilities. The SNES wasn't just selling a product, it was selling a new reality in gaming. Games like Super Mario World and F-Zero showcased the console's revolutionary Mode 7 graphics, which, as mentioned earlier, allowed for scaling and rotation of backgrounds, creating a pseudo-3D effect that was nothing short of revolutionary. Critics and gamers alike praised the SNES for its robust library of games, which not only boasted superior graphics and sound but also deeper, more complex gameplay than many of its competitors. Publications like Electronic Gaming Monthly and GamePro gave glowing reviews, often highlighting the console's ability to push the boundaries of what was expected from home gaming systems. Sales figures began to tell the story of a successful comeback. After the somewhat slow start, the SNES gained significant ground, eventually outselling the Genesis in many key markets. This success was buoyed by iconic titles that were released throughout its life cycle, including The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and Donkey Kong Country, which became instant classics and showcased the console's capabilities to the fullest. The SNES also played a crucial role in popularizing multiplayer gaming experiences, thanks to games like Super Mario Kart, which brought friends and family together in spirited competition. This aspect of social gaming would go on to become a standard expectation in future consoles. In retrospect, the SNES's reception was more than just commercially successful, it was culturally transformative. It elevated video gaming from a children's pastime to a mainstream entertainment medium enjoyed by people of all ages. The console not only survived the intense competition of the so-called console wars of the 1990s, but thrived, cementing Nintendo's reputation as a leader in innovation and quality in video gaming. Legacy. Fast forward to today, and the legacy of the SNES is undeniable. It's like the Beatles of gaming consoles. Its influence can be seen in modern gaming with titles that still pay homage to the classics. And speaking of classics, the SNES library was a veritable who's who of iconic games. Games like Super Mario World, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and Super Metroid didn't just define the console, they defined generations. And let's not forget about the Hadoukens flying in a Street Fighter II, a game that pretty much set the gold standard for fighting games. The influence of the SNES can also be seen in the world of game emulation and retro gaming communities. The desire to preserve and relive the SNES experience has led to a thriving culture of emulation, where enthusiasts can play classic SNES games on modern hardware. This has not only kept the console's legacy alive, but has also introduced these groundbreaking games to new audiences who might not have experienced them otherwise. And let's not overlook the SNES's impact on gaming culture and media. It was a catalyst for numerous gaming magazines and television shows in the 90s, which celebrated and dissected its games, influencing how media interacts with gaming to this day. The SNES era was a golden age not just for gamers, but for gaming culture as a whole. Conclusion. The SNES wasn't just a console, it was a phenomenon that reshaped the gaming landscape. It turned us into secret strategists, adventurers, and, let's be honest, made us a little too attached to our controllers. So, whether you're a retro gamer or a curious newbie, exploring the SNES's library is like uncovering a treasure trove of gaming history. The games, the graphics, the nostalgia, it's all still there, just waiting to be revisited or discovered. Thanks for tuning in. If you loved reliving the golden age of gaming with us, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more retro gaming deep dives. Until next time, keep those controllers charged and your adventures epic.